Thanks for staying with us. You are watching Pay Yourself First, TV Cogeco's show about your financial success. My guest here with me today is Cheryl Schofield, and Cheryl's with a company called Growth Positioning System, or GPS, which, as many of you already know, is a term that's very near and dear to my heart. Cheryl's going to spell out to us specifically what to do once you start generating leads. So, and that's something that I know for all of us is kind of painful. So, Cheryl, thanks very much for joining us.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for having me here.
I appreciate you being here. Now, tell us a little bit about GPS, the Growth Positioning System, and what that all means.
Yeah, I just noticed that I've been supporting sales reps for many years, and I noticed that there's a lot of people who are going out to networking events and they're coming home with a pile of business cards. And if you're a corporate rep, you're certainly focused on the sales and the people that are hot. But actually, the majority of leads that are created are actually what we would think of as cold and warm leads. And when we go to follow up with those ones, we're not exactly sure what to say, because we all know what to do with those people who look us in the eye and smile and say, "I want to do business with you." But as I said, they don't represent the majority, and we have to figure out what to do with all of the other ones. So what I help you to do is to start to listen for the common questions that people are asking you, so that next time you can go prepared, so that you do know what to say when you're following up.
So you're saying we need to find some kind of a common denominator, something where they have problems, I guess, or where their concerns are?
So as I said, you're going to listen for the common questions that people are asking you. So, if we can look back on people that we've done business with and how did they come to us and what are the kinds of questions. We can also look at what is the investigative buying cycle. What are the common questions that people who've suddenly started to realize that they have the problem that we solve, but they're maybe not really clear about what exactly the problem is. They can only really see the symptoms. So we want to have some messages that are for those people. And then the next stage is the people who are aware and they're now starting to look for a solution. We want to have some messages that are for those people. So when I'm first meeting you, I'm listening for where are you? What are the kinds of questions that you're asking me? And then I'm going to say, you know what, Jamie? There's other people who have asked me that kind of thing. And I'm already prepared. And I say to you, great, let me send you some information on that. Would that be okay?
That's very non-threatening, right?
Absolutely.
You're not trying to get in their face and make a sale or ram something down their throat. You're helping them, you're educating them. Let me send you something that, I love that verbiage, let me send you something that addresses that exact issue.
If you're trying to help somebody find the information that they don't have to solve a problem, they're going to look forward to hearing from you. You're never going to be frustrated and lost in voicemail jail, feeling like you're being a pest.
What was that? Can you say that one more time? What was that?
They're lost in voicemail jail,
okay,
frustrated.
Just expand on that a little bit, because I love that whole concept, because we've all been there. I'm there on a regular basis, but just explain what that is.
Yeah, because you keep following up and you're leaving messages like, oh, hi, Jamie, we talked yesterday, and I just wanted to see, have you made a decision yet? Basically, that's what we're asking a lot of the time.
Right,
have you made a decision yet? Yeah. And if not, well, then what else do I have to follow up with it except, did you make a decision now? And that gets very tiring. And I start to feel like I'm being a pest.
Yeah, sure.
In fact, that's what my clients tell me.
Now, you're saying that we need to do something or have some reports in place or some kind of literature that helps them through the problems that they're seeing. What's the best way to do that?
So as I said, you listen, so you want to find out what your target market is and how do they look at the problem that you solve and what are some of the common questions that they have. So if I hear a question being asked all the time, it's a frequently asked question, I'm going to go home and I'm going to write out my answer. So whatever I say to you in person, I'm going to put that into text format. So if I hear you ask me that question, I'm going to say, I know exactly for that. Can I send it to you? So then I go home, all I have to do is find this answer and just send it to you. Right. I'm just listening for the questions that I have answers to. And eventually you build up your library of answers. It doesn't matter pretty well what you ask me about my area of expertise. I have an answer already made. So that's what I help my clients do, is to prepare that library of answers.
Now, what's the next step after that?
I'm going to follow up and I'm going to say, maybe, how did you like that report? These are the common questions that most people who read that report, these are the questions that they have.
So you keep a database, basically, of what the general questions might come out of people's mouths once they've had a chance to read that report.
Exactly,
right?
Because I followed up. So you have to do the market research. So I have a 10-step follow-up system. The first step is to meet people, and the second step is to do your market research. So I want to find out. So maybe the first 6 months I've had my business, I'm just going to go out and do my market research.
Right.
When I say what I say, what do you say?
Right.
And then I'm going to prepare my answers.
Now, we talked about you have a 10-step system for following up on leads. What's the first step in this whole 10-step process?
The first step is step one. It's business networking. It's how do you start conversations in a room full of strangers.
Right.
So I did a seminar series where I gave you a bunch of tactics of what you could use. The second step is market research. So as I mentioned, first of all, I have to find out what I'm selling and what my personal strengths are. But then I have to find out what it is that my customer is looking for. So when I say something, how do you react?
Right.
You're going to react better to some things than to other things. And then the third thing is I'm going to listen for your problems. The third step is to connect them to the information that I have.
So let's talk a little bit about the market research then, and maybe a little bit more detail about how people should go about doing this, or how they should be prepared, and what kind of a database maybe they should use to keep track of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, a lot of, actually from my survey, the results that I found is that a lot of people are using LinkedIn and Outlook. And this is how they're managing all their prospects
Right.
and their leads.
Right.
It's just a little difficult to do it that way. I actually tell a lot of my clients will use ACT, and there's all kinds of different databases, but the point is that you need to get one. So
Right.
that you're working in a database so that when somebody calls you, you can pull up their record
And
and
you see
every
what's going
single
on.
thing, you can see everything that was ever said.
Right.
Right? And that's what you want. You don't want to be drilling down into emails while you're on the phone. Just wait a minute, I'm going to find it.
Okay, now, step three was what? Connect to the resources. So maybe you can get into more detail about that.
Yeah, so when I'm actually listening to you, when we're having that initial conversation, I'm not just going to ask you, are you interested in what I'm buying? I'm going to ask you things about you in particular. So you're building this business. Oh, tell me more about that. What are some of the goals that you're trying to reach this year in your business? And what are some of the challenges that you're having? So I'm listening to all kinds of things. It could be anything. You never know where the connection is going to be, which is why it's called Connect.
Right.
It could be from my area of expertise. It could be that we know somebody in common.
Right.
Or I could connect you. You could say, I'm looking for a great bookkeeper, and I could say, oh, I know somebody who's a great bookkeeper. So, I have people on my network that I can connect you to, but I also have information, and I also from my area of expertise.
Right.
So it's what I call a circle the wagons kind of way of going about it. Chances are, if I try to sell you, that's like trying to get in the front door.
Right.
You've got it's locked and bolted,
Well, we're
deadbolted.
getting hammered by salespeople and
Exactly.
telemarketers and stuff every day, so we need a different strategy.
So I'm going to try to get in the side doors or the back doors, or I'm
Smart.
going to get somebody to hoist me up into the upstairs window. That somehow, other than that front door, you've got to get creative. You've got to start using your resources. You have to mastermind with other people.
Right.
A lot of people go onto LinkedIn to find out who that person is. Now, how more inclined am I to do business with you because you obviously took the time to learn about me,
What a
and that
great
is
tip.
huge.
What a great tip.
It's huge.
Walking up to somebody who you want to connect with, knowing they're going to be an event, and saying, hey, I knew you were going to be here. I did some research. Can you take 5 minutes out of your, and who's going to say no to something like that?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody. Well, unless they were pretty rude, but I mean, and I've had a
Exactly,
couple
and that's reciprocity.
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity is the highest instinct that humans have because that's how we survived. We're all contribute. We can't all gather nuts. We can't all hunt meat. But if you bring back the meat and we all do it, I've been building the house that you're sleeping in
Right.
while you were out making the
Oh, I
meat
get
that
it.
I
Okay,
eat.
okay.
So that reciprocity, so if I do something for you, you are very inclined to want to do something for me.
Right.
So that's kind of like the giver's gain.
Yes.
That's really what that is.
Yeah, the giver's
it's going
gain,
to come
that's-
around. What goes around comes around. So if you're giving, you will receive.
Right.
But if you come in contact with somebody who's only taking, right away we figure that out very quickly.
Yeah.
You've got to be giving as well as receiving.
That stereotype of that sleazy salesman
That's
who really
right.
doesn't care about me. He's just in there to take my
To
money,
take.
and he's going to
That's
be
right.
gone. And we're all about building relationships, and that's
right.
what
So you have
sells.
to give first.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Okay, so number 4 was send the message, right?
That's right. So you're going to come home, and I've offered to give you something. I've offered to give you some information. So now I come home, and my 4th step is to actually do that. So I'm going to enter you into my database. I'm going to find my information that I had templated, or I'm going to go and put that information together that I promised you. And within, my goal is, because I'm the follow-up specialist, is within 24 hours. But as long as you do it within 48 hours, and even if you forget, some of my people go, oh yeah, but it's been like a week or something. It doesn't matter. Just do it.
So 24 to 48 hours is optimal because you're still fresh in their memory,
That's
right? They'll
right.
remember you. But even if you forget, it's okay to do it a week later.
Because you promised something, and the
Right.
last thing you want to be known as is somebody who promises and doesn't
Right.
deliver.
Right. 'Cause
So
that's
even
your
if it's
first
a
impression.
week, Absolutely.
Or this person's first impression of you, and you don't want to blow that.
If
right?
you've just met them, it's their only impression of you. So
Right.
even if it's a week or two later, just apologize, just own up to it, just apologize and say, you know what, I didn't do it, I'm sorry, but I didn't want to let you down. Here's your information.
That's very Canadian, too.
Yes.
To do it that way. Okay, so 4 is to send the message. Now, what are the next 5 steps?
They're all follow-up, and the first 6 steps I cover in my course, Set the Stage, and the other ones are about automate the process. So the other course is all about how do you set up the database, how do you start to build this library, and how do you automate it.
Okay, now we have just a graphic up on the screen right there. So maybe just so maximize your time and effort and outcomes.
That's going prepared so
Right.
that you can maximize the outcomes.
So be prepared with specific intent at
Yeah.
the networking functions that you go to. So your specific intent is to walk out of there with as many leads as you can, I guess.
Yeah, and
right?
know what you're following up with so that you have, you know the information that they're looking for and you're ready to deliver it.
Right. So know your target audience and then speak specifically to their gain or their pain and your results, and so how we can solve their problems, right?
That's right. So for me, it would be something like I would say to them, I'm going to help you to turn business card leads into sales. So you're speaking to their pain, which is you're frustrated, lost in voicemail jail.
Right.
I understand that is the pain of my people feel like they're being a pest, so my clients think that. So that's their pain, and then the result is I'm going to turn leads into sales.
So we develop a template of
Yep.
the questions that we know they're going to ask, so we're a little bit better prepared, I guess, right?
Yep.
And work towards building steps.
In a system, that's
in
right.
a system, yeah.
So how do people come in? What are the common questions? What is the next thing they ask? Then what happens? Then what happens? So that's what that is.
So
And then
we need
automate
to automate
it.
this whole process,
That's right.
And how do we do that?
Well, the
database.
CRM, exactly. We've got autoresponders. There's all kinds of different ways that we can go about it.
CRM means
Customer Relationship Manager.
Right.
So it could be ACT, it could be Maximizer, it could be the one that the Microsoft has, it could be on the cloud.
even if our viewers are just starting their own business and they really don't have the resources to put into like a server or something like that, they can still use, even though it's not optimal, but Outlook still works, right?
Yeah, it definitely works.
But when you come to a point where you need to take it to the next level and it's just not going to be enough.
Well, what I suggest is that you go to Staples or somewhere like that and you buy ACT. It's a $200 one-time purchase.
ACT, that's what it's called?
Yeah, ACT, A-C-T,
Okay.
Activities, Contacts, and Time.
Oh, okay, okay.
So you go there, you buy, it's $200. I mean, that's pretty minimal as far as a business investment goes. I mean, that's what we spend on business cards. And then you can start right away. It works with Outlook.
Right, right. Okay. Well, you brought one more slide. Let's see if we can get it up on the screen, because I know we're kind of running out of time. So master the prospecting and follow up the process that turns into sales.
That's right. I'm offering a free business growth strategies report that you can pick up there. It's titled, You've Worked the Room. Now what? So you can pick that up there, and then I'll send that to you.
I just sort of picked up on this. You're doing right now what you're teaching us to do.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That's really smart.
You have to walk the talk.
Yeah, what a great way to do it. Cheryl, thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, great.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Pay Yourself First, TV Coach to Go show about your financial success.